So, one of the big questions everyone asks themselves at some point in time is, you know, is there something that I might do that will cause me to miss heaven? And there's a lot of theological answers to that, but Jesus gave us one thing that you'll find that's pretty consistent. And there's really one main reason why a person misses heaven. And when I say miss heaven, that's a nice term because it's a replacement for burn in hell. And because you're either going to go to heaven or you're going to burn in hell. But we say miss heaven because it sounds a lot nicer, but the reality is a lot harsher. But Jesus gave this reason, and I think it's a great reason. He said, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often I would have gathered thy children together, as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not." And I always find that last part of that verse to be probably one of the saddest verses because, and ye would not. And so if a person misses heaven and burns in hell, well, it's not because the penalty for their sins wasn't paid, because it was. And it's not because salvation wasn't offered, because it was. And it's not because they didn't know or they weren't warned. It's because when God called them to turn from sin to Him, to come to Him, to be one of His children, they would not. And so you got to ask yourself that. You can't blame your pastor. You can't blame other people. You can't blame God because it's freely offered and ye would not. And I also find that's interesting that there are a lot of Christians that suffer through hardships and trials, but they don't really ever go to the Lord. Now, I imagine that God sometimes looks down, sees them struggle, and says, if they would just come to me and put their trust in me and ask me, I would help them with this. But they would not. Just something to think about, or not.